Your mind is a busy place, full of memories, possibilities, fears, hopes, and sometimes thoughts that circle endlessly. If you've ever found yourself replaying conversations, imagining worst-case scenarios, or thinking so deeply that you forget you're thinking at all, you're not alone. Overthinking is a quiet burden millions carry, but it's also a pattern the mind learned for a reason. Today, we'll explore why your mind overthinks, where those spirals come from, and how to gently loosen the knots your thoughts create. Take a breath. There's nothing to fix right now, only something to understand. What overthinking really is. Most people believe overthinking is thinking too much, but that's not true. Overthinking is not an excess of thought, it's a shape of thought, a loop, a repeating pattern. It's the mind searching for certainty, avoiding discomfort, and trying to protect you. Every thought in a spiral has one purpose: to keep you safe. But here's the quiet truth. Although overthinking feels logical, it is almost always emotional. Not about the event, but how the event makes you feel. It's not about the decision, but about what the decision represents. At its core, overthinking is your mind trying to solve an emotional discomfort with mental effort, a task the mind cannot complete. So it loops. Why the mind spirals? Your mind is wired to notice danger before calm, to protect before it relaxes. When a situation feels uncertain, your brain tries to predict every possible outcome. It's like standing at a crossroads with hundreds of paths and feeling responsible for choosing the perfect one. So the mind spirals. Not because you're broken, not because you lack discipline, but because your brain evolved to keep you alive in a world full of threats. Overthinking is not a failure. It is an ancient survival instinct, misapplied to modern problems. Your brain imagines negative possibilities because imagining harm kept your ancestors safe. Today, the threats are different. Not predators, but possibilities. Not danger, but doubt. Your mind spirals because it believes, if I can think enough, I can prevent pain. But thinking cannot eliminate discomfort, so the cycle continues. The overthinking loop. Every overthinking pattern follows the same loop. It begins with a trigger, something small, a message, a memory, a look, a feeling. Then comes the thought. What if I made a mistake? What did they mean by that? What if it goes wrong? The thought creates anxiety, a quiet tightening in the chest, a subtle pressure behind the eyes, a sense of uncertainty. That anxiety leads to more thoughts, which leads to more anxiety, which leads to more thoughts. Not because you want to, but because your mind is trying to calm itself with the very thing that agitates it. The mind tries to think its way out of discomfort, not realizing that thinking is what keeps the discomfort alive. This is the overthinking loop, a reflex, automatic, predictable, and learnable, so it can be unlearned. The roots of overthinking. Overthinking isn't random. It has roots. Most spirals grow from one of four emotional fears. 1. Fear of mistakes. The fear of choosing wrong, of disappointing yourself or others, of closing a door you can't reopen. 2. Fear of judgment. Worrying what others think, or might think, or could think if you say or do the wrong thing. 3. Fear of uncertainty. Wanting clarity in a world that rarely offers it, needing answers before you act. 4. Fear of regret. Trying so hard to choose perfectly that you end up choosing nothing. These fears are not weaknesses. They are reflections of your values, your heart, your desire to do things right. Overthinking happens not because you don't care, but because you care deeply. That is not something to judge. It is something to understand. The emotional weight of thinking too much. Overthinking is heavy. Not physically, but emotionally. It blurs your focus. It drains your energy. It steals quiet moments. It fills the future with imaginary storms. The mind becomes a place where possibilities echo loudly and certainty whispers softly. Overthinking often disguises itself as planning, but it is not planning. Planning has movement. Overthinking has stillness. Planning prepares you for action. Overthinking prevents it. Planning uses thoughts to build clarity. Overthinking uses thoughts to escape discomfort. The more you think, the heavier thinking becomes. It's not your fault. It's simply a habit, a trained response to emotional weight that your mind doesn't know how to set down. Not yet. How to quiet the mind. You cannot quiet the mind by force. You cannot outthink overthinking. You cannot push thoughts away. The mind softens when you stop arguing with it. Here are gentle ways to create space. 1. Make the thoughts smaller. Imagine shrinking it. Let it take up less room. Thoughts lose power when they lose size. 2. Return to the present moment. Not by effort, but by noticing. A sound, a breath, a color, a sensation. 3. Let the thought finish. Overthinking survives by interruption. Sometimes letting a thought complete itself helps it settle. 4. Ask one calming question. Is this a thought or a feeling? Because feelings masquerade as logic, and naming them reduces their influence. 5. Give your mind a place to rest. A phrase, a visualization, a grounding point. Something simple like, I don't need all the answers right now. This is how clarity begins, not with control, but with compassion. Closing reflection. Overthinking isn't a flaw. It is a sign of intelligence, creativity, and care. But even the brightest minds need moments of quiet. Your thoughts are not enemies. They're messengers. Signals from a mind trying to protect a heart that has felt too much. With understanding, the spirals loosen. With gentleness, the fog clears. With time, your mind remembers how to rest. Thank you for spending this moment with EduXplainer, where ideas become clear.